here on MMAOddsbreaker.com. That's Nick Kalikas. I'm Frank Trigg. This week, we're talking about World Series of Fighting 29. Gaethje versus Foster, main event. Title fight, March 12th. It's in Colorado. It's in Greeley, Colorado. And this, of course, can be seen if you can't get there. It's on NBC Sports. Obviously, Justin's the undefeated champ. You know, he's the belt holder. I got to think he's the favorite in this one, obviously.
Yeah, he is actually a solid favorite too. It opened just under 3-1, and now it's bet over to minus 340 for Gaethje, and the comeback on Foster is actually plus 280. So public, a little bit more action coming in Gaethje's way. I mean, the guy's a warrior. He's been amazing, really. And it's unfortunate. I mean, I know this is World Series of Fighting, and they're doing a great job with everything, all considering. But a lot of fans want to see him in the UFC. You know, I mean, to get in the mix of the lightweights in there. So it's unfortunate we're probably not going to get to see him, you know, pretty soon here. I mean, it might take a couple fights, or I'm not sure what his contract's like with World Series of Fighting, but we might eventually get to see it. But right now, I mean, this is a tremendous fight. I'm looking forward to it because Foster's no slouch in his own right?
Yeah, Foster's had he's had a really long history of competing in the MMA game, but he's had some ups and downs. But Gaethje's undefeated. Foster has fought a lot of undefeated guys and beat them, fought a couple of undefeated guys and lost to them. My question with Foster is where is he at mentally? Because coming against a guy like Gaethje who doesn't really, he's not a Conor McGregor trash talker, but he does talk a little bit of trash, does kind of get under your skin. And Foster doesn't really seem to do well in that kind of mindset when he's dealing with someone that does a lot of trash talking. If Foster were to win this, how do you see him winning this thing?
Man, I'll tell you what, he's got good wrestling. He's got good submission ability offensively at least as well. I mean, I know defensively at times his sub-defense is a bit questionable, but Gaethje's not that type of fighter though, right? I mean, he's got a little bit of all the skill sets you want in a fighter. He does have some submission skill. He's got wrestling in his own right, Gaethje I'm talking about, but he doesn't really use the submissions. He's a striker. We all know that. He likes to stand and bang. Both these guys actually like to implement the same game plan. So this is going to be fireworks. This is going to be a fun fight because I really think they're going to stand and bang. I mean, they're going to try to knock each other's heads off. So Foster has outstanding power. I think he can knock out anybody, especially in the lightweight division now. I mean, the guy is aggressive. He's dangerous. He's powerful enough. So if he wins it, I think he wins it by knockout, to be honest with you. Gaethje has been hit. You know, I mean, he's been a warrior. He recovers quickly. That's one thing you got to give him credit for, because when he gets tagged, he ends up just, you know, getting hurt a little bit, but he doesn't go out. You know, he just he fights it off. He recovers quickly, and then he's a handful to deal with. So this is definitely a tough fight for both men.
Well, if you're looking at Foster, he's 25-8. I was 25 wins, 12 by KO, 12 by submission, and only one decision. This guy never goes the distance at all. And, of course, with Gaethje, we see that he never goes the distance as well. I agree with you that Foster wins probably going to be a knockout because Gaethje hasn't been touched. His chin hasn't been tapped yet. It's going to be interesting to see how he deals with it once he does get hit, because Foster will hit him. The biggest factor for me, though, is who's going to use their wrestling to the best ability. Both guys have wrestling ability, but neither one of them really uses the submission game per se. Foster gets his submissions more by grinding you out, beating you up, and then all of a sudden you give him something easy. He just takes it because it's the next logical step, as opposed to like a Nate Diaz who hunts and hunts and hunts, or a Nick Diaz who hunts and hunts and hunts, looks for a submission at all times. Gaethje doesn't really do that. Foster kind of finds a way to get into it. So I'm really going to find out. Really, for me, it's getting in the second round who is doing the better wrestling. But I still got to lean towards Justin. I just think Gaethje's the better guy overall. And at this price, though, is it worth me putting any money on?
Not at the price. No way. No way I would lay 3.5 to 1 or close to it against Foster with that kind of power. And the wrestling is going to be interesting. I mean, I honestly think if we're going to see somebody shoot for a takedown, not necessarily that he's wimping out or anything in this battle, but I think it's actually Foster going to be maybe looking to take the fight to the ground a little bit. And if there's a submission in this fight, I think it kind of favors Foster as well. I mean, offensively, again, he is pretty slick at times. Like you said, gets a fight to the floor. He kind of wants to grind you out or knock you out on the feet, of course, and then submit you if he gets the opportunity. So I think Foster's dangerous, man. He might be a live dog here. I mean, again, all the signs so far for Gaethje, he's been a tremendous champion, and he's been a great prospect, if you can even consider him that. I mean, he's a title holder right now in World Series of Fighting, but I'm saying in regards to possibly seeing him in the UFC one day, a lot of people want to see that. I do as well, but this is going to be a stiff test, and I think this is a great kind of stepping stone for him, because Foster kind of been flying under the radar now for a long time. Unfortunately for him, he would still really be in the UFC. I mean, he had some quality wins in the UFC, Foster. And then, of course, he had that head situation with his brain. I mean, there's been some things. It's been in the past now as well. So the timing wasn't right. Everything didn't really work out for him. And, he's no longer on the UFC roster. But man, he's on the radar, and I think he has UFC talent as well. So you got two guys that really belong in the big leagues competing in this event. So it's a tough fight. I think it is a dog or pass situation. Even though Gaethje's been tremendous, man, I could see Foster really pulling this off.
Well, there you have it. It's Kalikas. He's trying to tell you that absolutely Gaethje is the favorite in this one to win, but there's no money value on him. Stick with Foster if you can put any money into it. This is Before the Bell here on MMA Oddsbreaker. We'll see you again next week.